Kyle Tucker just visited Florida, the Florida facility there. Okay, we got something going on.
Kyle Tucker just visited with the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. I visited a Home Depot yesterday. Doesn't mean I'm a carpenter.
We've seen this with the Dodgers. Great players like to play with great players. And we haven't seen this kind of NBA thing happen much in baseball, but it has happened to an extent with the Dodgers, with Yamamoto joining Ohtani and then Sasaki doing the same. I wonder if maybe that is going to be a situation in Toronto where all of a sudden, after all those years of failing to get free agents, players say, you know what, let's go there and win it out.
All right. This is the problem. Rogers Media Corporation owns the Toronto Blue Jays. They're worth $20 billion. And I know, listen, this isn't sour grapes from a Yankee fan. This is reality, and I'm just giving you a dose of it. I'm giving my fans a dose of it, too. The Yankees can't compete anymore. This is a mom-and-pop shop that Hal Steinbrenner runs in the Bronx. He's worth $2 billion. I know that sounds crazy that I'm saying like it's a bad thing. But when you have corporations like the Toronto Blue Jays who are worth $20 billion and they're owned by a firm, okay, a media corporation, then you have the Dodgers who are owned by like a gaggle of billionaires. They can't compete. Now the Toronto Blue Jays, they see the window. The window was starting to close a little bit. Everyone was like, before this year started, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., will he be the player that we need? Bo Bichette, can he stay healthy? They go to the World Series. Now they're printing money. Now they want to build the Death Star and a dream team north of the border. What do you guys think in the comments below? Do you think the Blue Jays are going to do it? Do you think what they said, guys are willing to go north of the border for a couple of years to go try to win a couple of rings, kind of like Gary Carter on the Montreal Expos? Let me know in the comments below how you feel about that, because Steve Cohen just built a casino next to Citi Field. He's getting $400 million before a pitch is thrown in Major League Baseball before the season starts. So if you look at Hal Steinbrenner and everyone's like, why are you being so cheap? Maybe that's the reason, is because now he's going up against Walmart. I think the days of the New York Yankees and the Steinbrenners owning them, they might be coming to an end because somebody big needs to own the Yankees and they need to rebuild the Death Star.
Kyle Tucker just visited Florida, the Florida facility there. Okay, we got something going on here. Now,
Kyle Tucker just visited with the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. Well, let me give you a little hint, guys. I visited a Home Depot yesterday. Doesn't mean I'm a carpenter. Back to you, Ken.
My situation is here. You talk about him maybe going to the Blue Jays. Does that make it hard for Bo Bichette to come back, or do you see both of them maybe sticking together if eventually this does go through?
Dude, I don't see Bo Bichette going back to the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't hear anything about that. And in fact, I think everybody is in a freeze until the winter meetings start on Monday. This is the calm before the storm. This is everybody just jockeying for position, because just like I said, the free agency market this year is paper thin. Everyone is looking for right-handed power corner outfielders, and guess what? There's not enough to go around. So all the moves are going to come by trades. With the Tuckers and the Bellingers, the belle of the ball, no pun intended, those are the guys that are going to warrant huge paydays. And in fact, I think they're getting overpaid because the market is so thin. So you're going to see moves by every AL East team in trades. Look at what the Red Sox are doing with all those pitchers they just got in the deal, with Sonny Gray included. Now the Toronto Blue Jays, after bagging the Dodgers for that Ohtani deal, when the Toronto Blue Jays throw a bank load of money at Ohtani and he still went to the Dodgers and they go, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Now the Toronto Blue Jays are doing their best Dodgers impersonation with trying to ruin baseball by gobbling up everybody. Let's see if it works. It's a little tough to get people north of the border, and I saw the comments last episode. By the way, the average temperature of Toronto is 42 degrees. New York is 58 degrees. I don't know why that was such a huge debate. Back to the videotape, Ken.
Todd, I don't know. And it certainly seems from the outside that it would be tough to do both those guys, right?
Pause. Did you hear what he just said? Ken's about to risk it all. Listen to this.
It would be tough to do both those guys.
Slice that was from a few days ago. Alex Rodriguez was talking on a show about Bud Selig and said all of this stuff you're talking about was under Bud Selig's watch, and he was referring to the PED era and some guys getting in and Bonds and Clemens conversation. Of course, A-Rod's part of that conversation. He said, quote, the fact that those two guys are not in, but somehow Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame, that to me feels like there's a little bit some hypocrisy around that. Your thoughts?
Dude, Alex Rodriguez is such a low IQ POS, bro. You know what? This is revisionist history, and all Alex Rodriguez has done since he's retired from the New York Yankees is try to weasel his way back in the baseball. He was a black sheep in the New York Yankees franchise. He lied about using PEDs. He lied about his hip surgery. He wound up suing the New York Yankees. He was persona non grata with the Yankees because he ruined the home run chase as soon as he tainted it with steroids. He lied on national TV. He lied on the Mike Francesa show on WFAN right to his face. He was suspended for 151 games plus. Trust me, he's a Hall of Famer on the numbers. But as a human, he might be the biggest weasel I've ever seen in my life. He's the kind of dude that has revisionist history and goes back and tells Bud Selig, listen, the reason that baseball survived, okay, he was part of it, Bud Selig. Bud Selig, no matter what you think of him, he saved baseball because through that strike, we almost died as a baseball fan, and we almost died as Major League Baseball. So, Alex Rodriguez, with your special out, with you on the post-game show with Derek Jeter, and now he's got to stand your ass. You're a phony. And I've seen you checking out my Instagram account at 3 o'clock in the morning after I did the hit piece on you, which I will put the link at the end of this video so you can watch it again and remind yourself what kind of human being you are, because you're a snake. You're an absolute snake. And you do everything that you do has premeditation behind it. Nothing that you do is genuine, Alex Rodriguez. You're a phony. You're a phony to the highest degree. And that's why Derek Jeter didn't want anything to do with your ass after you did that interview with ESPN and said that you're a better player than Derek Jeter. He knew you were a backstabbing weasel then. You're a liar. And this is all allegedly, so he doesn't sue me. This is all allegedly and for entertainment purposes that I'm speaking about Alex Rodriguez, okay? Because now this guy's going around and having a media tour on how we should get back into the Hall of Fame. If it's the last thing I do with my dying breath, I will protest Alex Rodriguez getting into the Hall of Fame, because guess what? I will put out a video about Donnie Baseball not being a Hall of Famer. If Alex Rodriguez gets in before Donnie Baseball gets in, that's a travesty, because this guy is a weasel.
I can see where A-Rod's coming from there. And certainly Bud Selig was the commissioner at a time when all this was going on. Now, you can make the
Just because you do something wrong and somebody else does something wrong, don't drag them down with you. Why don't you just fess up to what you did? You probably been. I don't even want to say anything.
That this is more on.
He literally watches my program and watches my Instagram, so I don't want to get a legal notice in the mail from this guy. But I'm just going to stop talking right now.
The players, that while there weren't penalties in place, it certainly was frowned upon, and it was illegal by the laws of the United States in some ways. But you can also argue, if you're Bud Selig, well, I wanted to do things and the union wouldn't let me. The question then.
Listen, the commissioner of the league is a puppet for the owners. We all know that, okay? At the time when these guys, like Roger Clemens and stuff like that, when they took this stuff, it wasn't illegal. Did they know that they were doing something wrong? Absolutely. Did they know that they were cheating? Absolutely. In the players' defense, and I'll end it on this, in Major League Baseball players' defense in the steroid era, okay? Those guys saved baseball. The New York Yankees of the 90s and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa saved Major League Baseball from its deathbed. Then what did they do in the early 2000s? They turned around, had a congressional hearing about the players, and stuck a finger in their chest and said, you took steroids and you're liars and you're cheaters now. After all the owners looked the other way. You have to remember, George W. Bush was the owner of the Texas Rangers when Juan Gonzalez and Jose Canseco was on the team. all steroid users, known steroid users, using steroids on the team while he owned it. And then that president, current president, he has a congressional hearing to point the finger at baseball players. So listen, hypocrisy on both sides, but if you want to try to weasel your way back into the Hall of Fame, Alex, it's not going to happen.
My last question for you is, my old team, Cincinnati, you know, sometimes they make some moves, sometimes they don't. They've been in talks with some people. How about a guy like Kyle Schwarber, man? Have you heard anything with them, with the Reds, and anything?
By the way, why is Kyle Schwarber being mentioned with every piss-poor franchise in Major League Baseball? Pirates, Cincinnati Reds. I even heard his name being thrown around with the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, what is Schwarber trying to do? Is he trying? This is the only thing I can think that he's trying to do. He's trying to go to a team like that he will be their centerpiece and their focal piece to their whole team and their whole offense, and they're going to pay him $65 million a year for 3 years. I think that's what he wants, because teams like the Pirates, teams like the Reds, and the Reds are about to take the next step. And with Terry Francona being their head coach, I think the world is the sky's the limit for them. But when you add a guy like that, then the fans can't complain. Like when you throw the fans a bone, like the Rays and the Pirates, they'll be like, hey, listen, you know, you say we don't spend, we got Kyle Schwarber, but then they refuse to address the rest of the team. They neglect the rest of the team.
Think to them?
I have heard that, and I've written about it too. They're trying with him. Now, in the end, it would seem they're going to get outbid, and some people at that point might say, see, it was never real.
It's not going to happen. And remember, you can go over to New York Minute Sports. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram and right here, New York Minute Sports. New York Sports for New York Nuts. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.